Hello, everyone. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you on this Wednesday, August the 28th. Hot weather has returned to the valley, gusty south winds fueling the atmosphere with moisture, and we have a tornado watch issued. One of the very latest on the radar. We'll talk about timing in your neck of the woods. It's all beginning right now on Hutch's Weather.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, thanks again to my sponsors at, well, I got to tell you what, my friends over at Robert Gibb and Sons have been doing what they do for over 100 years. Now, they not only help with residential, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, or electrical, they can handle your commercial or industrial projects as well. Please keep them in mind. Now, let's take a look at what's going on the radar right now, as we do have concerns for tonight. Hi, Nathan. As is always the case, drop a note. Let me know where you're watching from. If you do have updates to share with what you're seeing in your neck of the woods, let me know. The radar is starting to show things taking off out to the west. A tornado watch has been issued by the National Weather Service office, mainly for parts of the central Dakotas. You can see the red box. That is a tornado watch. Go ahead and pause the loop on this here momentarily to show you what we have going on right now. So here is a look at, whoopsies, here we go. Sorry about that. I'm trying to look, so I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Here we go. The tornado watch is in effect for the Bismarck area out towards the Jamestown area. So it cuts off in the Kidder County area as we look into portions of Kidder County here. Carrington, you are not in the tornado watch, but Wishick, Ashley, you are in the tornado watch as we go into the late evening hours tonight. Now, this watch is in effect here until 11 o'clock Central Time. Here are the threats. We could see hail to 3 inches in diameter, says the National Weather Service office. They also are indicating a potential for gusts to 70 miles per hour. I think we could see a few even greater than that. And the cloud tops are expected to reach 60,000 feet. That's how volatile the atmosphere is today. These thunderstorm clouds are rising right now. The latest radar is showing them developing along the South Dakota border right now. Now, as we take a look at this latest radar, you can see they're right on the South Dakota border. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit. Sioux County here. A couple of thunderstorm cells have developed here in the last few moments. These firing up into the atmosphere, working their way into to the east-northeast at only about 15 miles per hour. Hi, Pat. Good to have you on board from Battle Lake. Is this going to hit Battle Lake later tonight? There is a chance, but it's going to be very, very late at night. Hey, Hutch, Grand Forks checking in. Kasha, good to have you. Marianne, good to have you from Bagley. Thanks for joining in. Hi, Cheryl. Okay, so here are the latest on these particular storm cells right now. As we loop them, you can see their movement. Generally, they're still developing, so the movement is very slow. Here they come, moving to the north and east and only at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now, the forecast model is showing that these storms are going to work their way off to the east. Now, this watch is in the same area that you see here all the way until 11 o'clock tonight. And the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center do a pretty good job of where these storms are going to meander between now and then. So the best chance of storms in our neck of the woods will hold off, including you, Jim, in New Rockford until much later. Thanks for watching, Sandy from Valley City. You do notice that Jamestown, Valley City, not in the watch area at this particular time. So let's take a look at the latest forecast model. And while that loads up here, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of different options, because I think not only could we see what some people say is ginormous type hail across the region, we also have the risk of seeing a few of these thunderstorms produce tornadoes. So we're going to show you some of the parameters that are involved in this. Jennifer from Bismarck, good to have you on board. Thank you so very much for watching from the capital city, as storms to your south are just now getting going. Here is a look at an hourly updated model. It's called a high resolution model because it's taking in a little bit more input data, and its output grid is very, very dense. So it's making forecasts for a lot of different points on this particular model. Now, as we go through the next few hours, this model is indicating pretty explosive development development along a trough of low pressure in the central Dakotas. And you see all of these individual thunderstorm cells forming here. It's these early onset storms that will have the best chance at producing tornadoes. And indeed, that could be the case. Now, Jessica, Otter Tail County, really good at making tornadoes. Jessica, yes, Otter Tail County is in the top 2 counties. You and Polk County are the 2 most tornado-prone counties in the entire state of Minnesota. But these storms are going to take a long time to get there. And because they'll be coming in the overnight, I believe our risk is not going to be tornadoes tonight, but we could see some windy thunderstorms. Simon, good to have you on board as well. Thank you so much for watching. Now, check these storms out. They'll be isolated in nature. This is through about the 10 to 11 o'clock time frame. That's when the watch for the tornadoes is set to expire, and these storms then meander off to the east. Now, I do want to point out that not all models agree on exactly how this system is going to look. Here's a look at another forecast model, and as this one starts out now forming in the central part of the Dakotas. Then as we glide towards 10 o'clock right here, notice it dives into South Dakota on this model. But more storms form in the overnight hours. The risk of severe in the overnight will drop down, and the main threat will be gusty straight line winds. And look at, they do not get into eastern North Dakota and western Minnesota till closer to daybreak. So many of us here in the valley have a long time to wait. Brad says, hi, Hutch. Nice to see that we live in Cullum. Thank you for service. Thank you for watching, Brad. I certainly do appreciate it. Local communities having a nice day here in Cullum, and indeed that's the case. Let's get right back to this, though, as we take a look at what's going on with regards to the energy in the atmosphere and the spin in the atmosphere. These particular models do some calculating with regards to that tornado risk, and I'm looking up that content right now. This is called the tornado parameter, and the colors you see are highlighting areas where the tornado parameter is higher. The hotter the color, well, then the greater the risk of tornadoes. So as we go towards morning tomorrow, notice that tornado parameter goes down to 0. So the overnight threat for tornadoes is not too high. On this model, the risk for tornadoes is greatest in the central part of the Dakotas. Now let's take a look at another model, just because they're not showing all the same thing. And it's good to see which models are showing the development that we have right now and see which models are locked into this development. So the tornado parameter here, as we approach the dinner hour, 7 p.m., look at this. This is very high along the North Dakota-South Dakota border, and then it stays in that general vicinity as we go towards around about 5 in the morning. It starts to wane. And again, that's why we're saying that the best chance tonight will be for some ridiculous sized hail. We're talking monster size hail, 3 inches in diameter, maybe a few places could even see a little bit more. So let's take a closer look at that radar one more time. Jane, thanks for joining me, and let's take a look at what that radar has to say with regards to the energy in the atmosphere right now. So let me load that back up. Thanks for your patience. Again, some new software here on Hutch's Weather to keep his eyes on the skies for you. This is the tornado watch box area. These storms in Sioux County are not yet warned for. What are they doing? Let's go ahead and take a look at the Doppler radar from Bismarck and take a peek at its depiction of these particular storms. So let me load up the correct Doppler radar here as we go through. So let me go here and let me go with KBIS. There we go. And now let's go with set. Okay, so let's see. If we zoom in here just a little bit, and let me just double check that I've got the right setting here. Doppler radar, NexRad, sites. Let me see if they're turned on. There we go. Now I can see the Bismarck site. Let me click on that. That'll get me closer. So here we go. Here is from the radar in the Bismarck area, and I apologize, it's taken me a little bit of time. These are the 2 cells it's chasing. This cell right here with the marker it has on it in northern Sioux County, right there along the river valley, we are seeing a storm cell capable of some significant hail. The probability of hail is 100% with this particular storm, but the risk of it being severe, not quite that high. 1-inch diameter hail is the maximum size possible hail, but the probability of severe millimeter hail or 1 inch in diameter is only about 10% of that area. So this storm right here that has the pink on it, that's really in rural parts of northern Sioux County right now, is capable of some very sizable hail, let's say nickel or a little bit better, as it moves off to the north and to the east. So these storms, again, will be pushing in towards Cannonball in the Missouri River Valley here shortly. Let's see if they have any propensity for some spin or rotation in them already. It'll be these early cells that are developing here that'll have that greatest chance of that. Let me see. I'm loading this up. Reflect base velocity. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so as we take a look through the cloud, we're not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything too organized with the bright greens and bright reds next to each other from the Bismarck National Weather Service's radar here. We are seeing some red pixels and some green ones next to it, but again, nothing organized or too strong with this storm at this particular juncture right now. Let me take a look at another product called not base velocity, but let's go with the storm relative velocity. And here we see some greens next to reds. And again, this would take out the storm motion. So there's a little bit of shear showing up in that southern storm down here near the Selfridge area. And it's a broad, weaker shear at this particular time. Deborah, thanks for watching from Thief River Falls. So we'll get to your forecast details on when it might arrive in the Red River Valley, but it does look much later. So just analyzing these storms here for a couple of different variables right now with regards to their ability to produce large hail. This is the percentage chance of large hail with these couple of storms right here. And what we see, both of these have at least some chance of seeing some sizable hail. Let me turn on my ability to look at those. Pardon me while okay, let's see. Let's go here. There we go. I'm trying to close this little window here and it's not cooperating with me. So give me 1 second while I... Okay. Well, these storms have a probability of hail that are in the Sioux County area right now. And let's take a look at the echo tops. How tall are these clouds getting? Thanks, Tony. I sure appreciate your support of stars. So as we are looking at this map here, let me see if I can double click on that, double click on this. And for some reason, I've got a map here that's in my way that's not allowing me to click on what I want to click on. Let me go back here. Yeah, it's still being a bugger. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to have to do my best to highlight the areas here. What we're looking at when we ask about the clouds, oh, look at these hail cores here in the blue starting to show up in northern Sioux County. So we're tracking a hail producer that's getting a little stronger in the last two cells. When we see the blues on there, that's an indication that that cell is really starting to increase its hail probability. This one as well down here that's heading into the general direction of you in Selfridge, just off to the east of you. I'm going to take a look at the North Dakota road cameras right now, as we sometimes do, because again, these cameras are adept at pointing at the road surface, but we do have a couple of cameras down here near Sioux County. Let's see if we could see this one in Sioux County, if it's pointing up at the sky at all. I'm not seeing too much from the sky on this one. Nope, it's mainly just pointed down at the road surface, which is what these cameras are intended to do, not necessarily watch the sky for meteorologist Hutch Johnson. This one, though, has a little bit of a view from the flasher area, and now you're looking at those clouds working their way through. Let's see if we could get some different views. Just dark skies showing up right there. So these clouds are heading into the river valley, that Sioux River. As we head into the Missouri River Valley, that's where they're heading as well, moving to the northeast at only about 15 miles per hour. And look at this one starting to take on just a little bit of this little hook shape is what we call that. That could indicate that it's starting to get a little bit more organized as well. The cloud tops that I was referring to with regards to these storms, indeed, showing the propensity to really drift high into the atmosphere. So when we look at the echo tops on these clouds right here, the reds are the 45 to 50,000 foot cloud top height for that storm moving into Selfridge. The higher the cloud tops get, that means the stronger the updrafts must be, the more buoyant the air must be. So these clouds are really starting to get rooted out there and producing some very towering clouds with that hail potential. So let's take a look now as we've looked at this with regards to our risk for will these storms work their way into the Red River Valley and when, and then we'll get you on your way. And I'll be back with updates throughout the evening. Again, a tornado watch is in effect until 11 o'clock for the central part of the Dakotas. I'll show you the details on that one more time here. But for now, I do want to look at the forecast model rendition and a look at the rainfall with these, because a couple of the models are indicating that these storms could be particularly long-lived and frequent as we go into the overnight hours. So here they go, forming in the central Dakotas, this particular model says, as we go through the dinner hour and work their way off to the east through southeast North Dakota and right along the state line. This will have the greatest risk of severe weather. This is 10 o'clock at night, and they will just be exiting the tornado watch area, surging in by the time we get to midnight. This is midnight here in the Red River Valley. So our chance of thunderstorms here increase as we go into the midnight hour. There's just been a warning issued on that northern storm for you in Sioux County. Back to that in a minute. So at midnight, the chances of some thunderstorms will increase. The backward C shape you see here showing me that the wind will be the main threat with these storms as they move through. And then this model has them dissipating. But we're not done yet. As we approach daybreak, this is 4 a.m., more storms form near this center of low pressure. Now, the risk of these being severe is not particularly great, but watch where they go. And areas of very heavy rain and even some gusty straight line winds will accompany these storms as they make their way through. Now, we are pushing through daybreak on your Thursday morning, but the storm chances continue through noon. So periods of locally heavy rain will be a possibility as these storms make their way through. Thank you, Danette. Appreciate you, Shirley. Thanks for watching in Fargo. So midnight all the way through noon tomorrow, the Red River Valley and western parts of Minnesota have a chance at these storms moving through. And the rainfall will be increasing as we go through. So this is a look at this model's rendition of how much rain will fall and where. Now, this is ending by the time we get to Thursday morning, but look what happens as we step through the model on this and carry it into Thursday afternoon by noon. So here is a look at the local rainfall potential. Most of these models agreeing that the heaviest of the rain will be in southeast North Dakota. So from Bismarck through the Napoleon, Wishick, Ashley area, right into Dickey and Lamar County, there could be some spots down here that pick up over 1 inch or over 2 inches of rain. A couple of models I have seen have shown ridiculous amounts, upwards of 5 or 6 inches. Now, I wouldn't put that past some of these storms simply because there could be areas that see multiple storms move through, and sometimes just one storm that causes rainfall at 2 to 3 inches per hour can deliver 2 to 3 inches in some of these individual storms to certain areas. So if we get multiple storms, the flooding could be a threat. So dangerous amounts of rain will make their way through in some areas. Not all of us will get rain, but as we carry this into the morning, let's take a look at where the rain falls in northwest Minnesota. Notice a little pocket in northwesternmost Minnesota. This is a look at the Thief River area. This model says most of the rain will be generally to the south of you. Now let's see if another model agrees. If we get a couple of models agreeing on some of these rainfall chances. Nope. This one says, yeah, we'll have some storms hitting northwest Minnesota. Any one of these scenarios could indeed pan out, but for now, we have severe storms forming right here. This is where some heavy rain will form. As we go through the overnight hours, more form and move into the valley, and they last through noon tomorrow before they exit. So that's the problem with our area. Here in the Red River Valley, I think the main threat will be some windy storms around midnight, more storms moving through first thing in the morning, and then more through noon. It's not going to rain the entire time, but we're going to have waves of rain. If those thunderstorms move over your area, we could have locally heavy rain. What about Crookston? Tamika, thanks for asking about Crookston. So as we take a look at this map, here's Polk County, and the rainfall potential in and around Crookston and parts of Polk County will be from a few tenths to an inch or so based on this particular map. Let's get to the radar. Those storms in Sioux County are now severe, and considerable damage is possible is the word and verbiage from the National Weather Service. So you're looking at cloud top heights, not regular reflectivity here. Cloud top heights are getting ridiculously high in Selfridge. We're probably pushing upwards of 55,000 feet or more from this Selfridge storm. Tamika, you're welcome. Devil's Lake, fairly safe, boss man. Brandon, you want to know, Devil's Lake looks like we're going to see some thunderstorm and shower activity, but it's not going to happen until we get closer to the 10 to midnight hour in your area. Will they be severe? The risk is lower in the Devil's Lake Basin than it is for these folks right here. take a look at these two warnings, and I'm going to pause this looping business so that you can see that basically what you're looking at is the south one is a severe thunderstorm already capable of 1 3/4 inch diameter hail. You heard me mentioning it's getting bigger every scan. Considerable damage is going to be possible from that hail, and my hopes are that most of the crops are already stripped off the fields there in Sioux County for those who are harvesting grain. Hopefully you've gotten most of that off of there, and if you do have some corn down in that particular area or whatever, there's going to be some big hail making its way through. 60-mile-per-hour gusts with this storm. Now, the northern storm is also capable of 1 3/4 inch diameter hail, considerable damage, 60-mile-per-hour winds. These warnings are in effect until 6:15 Central Time. They're moving towards, this is the Missouri River Valley right now. Now, as we take a look at the regular radar data here, and not echo tops or cloud top heights, these are towering storms. The view from these storms, you could probably see them from Bismarck. Okay. Katie is asking about the Grand Forks area. We just went over the forecast for that about midnight. So that's your answer. Jamestown, yes, you folks could have some windy storms, but it's going to look like it's closer to the 10 to midnight time frame for you as well. We could see more developing in this same area, so let's stay tuned for that. Okay, let's go back to the regular reflectivity and take a look at what these storms look like. Here's the southern storm. Notice this, we got this huge area where the radar is seeing hailstones up in the upper levels of the cloud. It doesn't mean it's all hail right now under these areas of pink, but up at cloud level where the radar is seeing, we're seeing some potential hailstones in excess of 1.5 inches in diameter. See this little cut or bite taken out of the storm? If there's some spin in the storm right here, that storm could be organizing. This could then be called a hook echo, and that's sometimes where tornadoes form. We're also seeing a notch in the front end of that storm. This is starting to take on a more classic supercell thunderstorm shape right here. So these storms, nasty dangerous right now, working their way through. Yeah, the crops, Bonnie, have my concern as well as these storms make their way through. I know of several farmers who have been working day and night trying to get the crops off, at least the grains off, but hopefully the corn is going to be okay because that will sit, the beans too, for a little while, right? But the grains are starting to come off. Now, take a look at that northern storm. That storm here is moving in the general direction of areas north of Selfridge. So this storm up to the north side here, mainly in rural parts of the county. Let me see if I can, again, I'm getting stuck with this. Let me turn this off. Let me see. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to, it's got this menu located right over a spot where I need to click and I can't turn the menu off. So here we go. Let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. There we go. We got a tornado warning. Let's see. All right, thank you. I'm zooming out because I see the potential for a tornado. Yeah, okay, so now right here, this thing has a little icon on it, and that is a tornado vortex structure. So I was noting this little hook in it. What I want to do is take a peek at the velocities in this storm right now, and we'll look at the velocities, and there is starting to show an increase in wind speed right here. Let's look at the, take the storm motion out of these velocities and see what we see there with regards to the storm. And there is some greens right next to the reds. So this southern storm is starting to show organization, the notch in the front, the hook on the back, and right where we're seeing that hook, we're also seeing this tornado vortex structure. It does not mean that a tornado is on the ground. It means this storm is starting to take on some signs showing that it is capable of some tight rotation as it works its way through. What I'm going to do is we're going to go take a look at the cameras from South Dakota right now, from South Dakota looking northward. And while it's doing that, I'm going to reload my radar software. Neat little trick that allows me to fix the software while it's working off in the background. So allow me to load that up for you here. And as we take a look at these cameras, what you're looking at here is South Dakota. And we're going to look up to the north into Sioux County here because we don't have a lot of North Dakota cameras, but right in this area here by Sioux County and to the south, we have McLaughlin, South Dakota. Let's see if I can click on that camera and take a look. These storms are way off in the distance. So here's the base of some thunderstorms. You can barely see them right at the top of the screen here. So those thunderstorm bases are forming there as you're looking in the general direction north of McLaughlin. This one is west of McLaughlin. We're not seeing anything there, obviously. There's the roadside, so we're not seeing as much there. So that view proved to be helpful thanks to that camera. Now let's look from the Harriet area. This is way, way off on the it's just on the east side of the Missouri River Valley. Again, it's just very hazy and mucky looking. We're not seeing much from those cameras either. Okay, Hutch's radar is back in action. Let's get back to it. Thank you so much for your patience. Y'all are the most best. Dang beautiful structure. It's going to be a wild ride for some. Indeed, Jeremy, it is. Is it Mick Paradise? Mick, thank you so very much for watching. Let's get down to this rotating thunderstorm down here. And now I can actually plot some details on this storm. Here it is. You're seeing the greens next to the reds starting to get a little more organized. That storm is heading right towards you in Selfridge right now. So the movement on this storm, as we take a look at the National Weather Service's text, it's a severe thunderstorm warning until 6:15, moving northeast at 24 miles per hour. There could be some damage from this storm that could be considerable thanks to the hail size at 1 3/4 inch diameter hail. This 60-mile-per-hour wind potential is going to be increasing as well. Why? Because the storm is very, very tall in the atmosphere. And when the rain and hail and all that mass starts falling out of the base of it, there's the potential for some real nasty, gusty winds with this storm. So as we take a look, the wind gust, the movement of the storm is to the northeast and towards Selfridge right now. So if you're in Selfridge, you have a dangerous thunderstorm that is warned for. Considerable damage is possible. And again, there's some rotation on the south side of this storm that's not far from you in Selfridge, and it's making its way into your general direction. So mainly it is over rural parts of the county, though. And same thing goes with the northern one that's heading in the general direction of above Hutch's head, and that's the community of Cannonball. So that's right on the river valley there in the Missouri River Valley. This storm is moving northeast. It's moving at about 20 miles per hour. Let's take a look. Storm movement, 21 miles per hour. So if we click on that and look at that, we can, well, let me see if I can look at some storm motion vectors now. As we query the cloud top heights, now I can finally do that for you. This is a look at the colors. They're going to change here. And this is the probability of severe hail colors. Now, what I'm going to do is move the camera up here, and you see this big rotating. See that notch in there? Ooh, that's bad. I think there could be some tight rotation in this storm heading towards Selfridge. There's a hail core, and even that hail core is getting wrapped around an area of rotation down there in southern Sioux County. Let's go ahead and see if Hutch can, oh yeah, nope, don't zoom in that close. Okay, we'll go ahead and redo that. Sorry about that. I wanted to do this. Let's zoom, 3D tilt. There we go. Now we're having fun. Now I'm driving the ship. See this little notch taken out of the hail core right here? That notch indicates some rotation in the storm because of this reason. Raindrops and hailstones in a rotating updraft get centrifuged out, and then the radar doesn't see anything in this little hole there. So that's what's going on right there. And there's likely some very sizable rotation going on in this thunderstorm cell as we take a look from the bird's eye view. So how high are these cloud tops? Let's take a look at that right now. So if I query this, I'm going to click on this area right here. Let's see if it will let me do that. Boom, click in the red. Okay, this is the probability of severe hail is at 95% moving into Selfridge. If you're in Selfridge, prepare for large hail. There could be some rotation on this storm as well. 95% of severe hail. That's what you're looking at. Now, let's take a look at the cloud top heights. How high is this puppy going in the atmosphere? Let's take a look at that. And the pink areas you're seeing here, 60,000 feet. This is a 60,000 plus foot thunderstorm cloud top as estimated by the Doppler radar right now, moving off to the north and east. So let's see if I can pull off the radar controls down here in just one moment. Where is that? Custom radar. I'm still learning my software, so I do appreciate you being patient with me. Here it is. I found it. Okay. Now we're going to look at some storms up to the north now. So let's zoom up to the north. This storm here has cloud top heights of 45,000 feet. It doesn't have as strong of updrafts yet, but it's still capable of 1.5 inch diameter hail. This cell's moving in that cannonball direction. Let's look at some rotation on this northern storm. Is it rotating? Let's look at the storm relative velocity. There's a little bit of spin in it. It's not quite as organized, and that spin is way on the south side of this storm as well. So it's that southernmost storm that does have some organized spin. I want to show you something here. See these bright green colors? That's motion towards Bismarck very fast. Bright red, motion away. So these areas of spin are separated by quite a bit. You see this spinning icon? That's called a mesocyclone. So this is a huge rotating mesocyclone thunderstorm, supercellular thunderstorm there. Tiffany, thank you. Hope you're doing well. I believe you may have taken a class of mine back at Bismarck State College. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, isn't weather fun to watch? Okay, this storm here heading into Selfridge is still rotating and likely capable of some extremely significant hail and on the order of 1 3/4 inch diameter hail. And that's moving into Selfridge right now. So these storms are pretty doggone nasty out there. Okay, now that Hutch has some of the capabilities back on the software here and I can see what I need to be clicking on, let's take a look at the regular reflectivities going back up to the Bismarck radar here. And these are the main events. And look at this, by the burn, by Washburn, right here north of you, right on the big lake, Lake Sakakawea, just off to the west of Underwood. Some cells are firing up south of Garrison. These storms here are not severe yet. When we look at their cloud top heights, they're probably still just growing. Let's take a look at the echo top heights there. And what we're looking at here are some babies that are just getting started, 20 to 30,000 feet up. So these are likely just developing with an updraft. It may not even be raining under those, even though the radar shows reflectivities that look like a lot of red. Let's see, reflectivity, please. Boom. Okay, so looking like it's a lot of red out here on the reflectivity display. Now let's go back and take a look at the velocity display here. And again, there is some spin showing up on those southern storms. So that's what we have going on. We're going to take a look now one more time at some rainfall potential with these storms. These are pretty slow movers, folks. So right now, the southern part of the Missouri River Valley is seeing these thunderstorms continuing as we speak. Let's take a look at some other cool details right now, like the temperature difference today over yesterday. We're right back in the heat and humidity. Check this out. The colors that you see on the map right now, temperature difference between now and yesterday at this time. And what I am going to show you here is areas now where it is 30 degrees warmer than yesterday in the central Dakotas in the Missouri River Valley. That's some significant heat change. Here in Grand Forks, it's a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. And in Fargo, we're about the same as we were temperature-wise yesterday at this particular time. So the heat is starting to build out to the east. Kind of a fun way of looking at that. Now let's take a look also at a risk of at our current conditions here at the surface. So why don't we go ahead and turn on some basic temperature details right now. Let's go ahead and here we go. Let's show the air temperatures. Okay, so here's some air temperatures right now, and it's 84 in Bismarck. Minot has 72 degrees at this hour. As we zoom in a little closer, Jamestown is at 75. Huge difference, okay? This is air temperature. Look at Mobridge, South Dakota. It's 91 degrees there. So there is a lot of heat in the atmosphere. And I do want to point out, let's see here, what do we got? Okay. All right. So now let's take a look with the heat where the humidity is. We're going to look at what's called the dew point temperature. And the dew point temperature is the temperature we have to cool the air to for the air to be saturated. So dew points were in the 50s and 60s yesterday as we dried off a little bit. But I think those dew points are returning back up into the 60s and 70s. So here we go. Let's turn off the temperatures and turn on the dew point here if we can. And is this right? Is that 84 degree dew point temperature? Wow. So what's the relative humidities in these areas? Okay, so let's go with the dew point. Here we go. Temperature, here we go. Dew point in Bismarck is 72 sultry degrees, 70 degrees in Mobridge. So the temperature and dew points in the 70s mean that air is extremely humid. So dew points have gone back up into the 60s here in the Red River Valley. So here's the basics on your forecast for tonight. This has been more of a long-winded severe weather update, and we do have a a tornado watch for portions of the central Dakotas for tonight. And the central Dakotas have the watch that's in effect until the 11 o'clock hour. So this does include parts of Wells County. So if you are in Harvey, if you are in Fessenden, those areas are in the watch. McLean County, all the way out towards the Garrison area, Turtle Lake, Beulah, Hazen area, Hebron, and also for you folks in New Salem, Sioux, in the tornado watch. And these storms here continuing to show the reds and greens next to each other. This storm spinning and likely capable of some extremely large hail, and it's continuing to stay organized here with some tight rotation within the storm. So that is a look at what's going on. We do have Ashley, we do have Wishick in the tornado watch until 11 o'clock. Jamestown, Stutsman County, not in the tornado watch. So none of our eastern North Dakota counties are in the tornado watch. The thunderstorms are beginning to develop right now in the Missouri River Valley. Now, if storms make their way towards you tonight, just know they could quickly become severe, and I want you to stay informed. Now, you can do that by checking out my brand spanking new website, hutchesweather.com. So here is a look at that. Hutchesweather.com is here for you 24/7 to keep you up to date with the latest weather information. If you let the webpage track your location on your device or on your laptop, it will give you the planning forecast, current conditions. Also, you can do the interactive radar by zooming in and seeing what's going on. And if Hutch is going live, boom, right at the top of the page, it shows up and you can see the live details there. Here's a look at what this looks like on hutchesweather.com. As we scroll down with this just a little bit and make that radar more centered, you can see the Sioux County storms that are really festering up there. Look at all that pink showing up in that radar there. And as we look up at the Lake Sakakawea area, we're seeing that the Underwood area and even out towards areas of Cole Harbor, those storms are just now starting to form. So we have interactive radar, but the big deal here is that you need to stay informed during severe weather. If it's moving into your area, log on to Hutch's Weather, and up at the top, if you have a warning for your area, it will show up right at the top. So keep that in mind. So down at the bottom, if you do have severe weather to report, you share that with your local authorities, but you can do the same by uploading your photos. Click on this blue button here. You can upload your photos of hail size and be sure to estimate and tell us what hail size you're seeing with the hail in your particular area. We have a tornado warning now, so let's get right on that. So there is a brand new tornado warning, Sioux County, for the storm I've been talking about, the increased amounts of rotation. Here's a look back at the radar. And this is a tornado warning until 6 o'clock tonight. So let me turn off some of this content here on the surface where I have the dew points. Now I turn that off. Here's the area of concern. I'm going to turn the watches off just to clear up this view just a little bit. Okay. All right. So here we go. We've got the tornado warning. Here's what the National Weather Service is saying about this tornado warning. It's the area in pink. It does include Selfridge. This is not a severe thunderstorm warning. It's a tornado warning. Here it is. Tornado warning until 6 o'clock. This storm is moving only at 15 miles per hour. Its movement is generally to the east. It is a radar indicated tornado. Look at this hail size now. It's already kissing 2.5 inches. So that is some monster hail. The updraft is strong. And as I've talked you through here, this updraft is spinning. So if you are in Selfridge right now or areas south of Selfridge along the highway here, I think that is that Highway 6. So this is the area of the tornado where we see the blues and the reds next to each other. That spin is moving off to the east. I'm going to confirm that here by looking at a loop of the radar data here over the last few minutes. Yeah, it is kind of slowly sliding off to the east. So if you're in Selfridge right now, you should be seeking shelter in an interior room away from windows and get to the lowest floor possible. And this is a dangerous storm, okay? It's showing some huge hail potential as well. It looks like we've got some sort of a change here. It's a radar indicated tornado. I'm not seeing a change to it there. Maybe there is a change to it. Let me double click on it. Okay. I'm reading the Weather Service's details here. 15 miles northwest of McLaughlin, moving east at 15 miles per hour. So it's still a dangerous storm. There could be flying debris. So again, seek shelter, get out of things like mobile homes and manufactured homes if you're in the Selfridge area or southern parts of Sioux County right now. This storm is moving off to the east. Let's see if we can track this storm just a little bit. Okay, storm cell tracking mode. Let's see if we can go here. Moving east at 15 miles per hour. All right. Yeah, so this one is just going to stay over the rural parts of the county, just south of you folks in Selfridge, and you're going to be very close to it as well. So anyone in Selfridge or Point South should seek shelter away from windows on the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. Get out of things like mobile homes, manufactured homes, and seek shelter in something more sturdy. And you're looking for a building that's attached to its foundation. So this is a look at what we have going on right now. A tornado warning is in effect for southern Sioux County. This is a long ways from the Red River Valley. Severe thunderstorm warning now extended all the way north into parts of Morton County for hail upwards of 1¼ inch in diameter. So that's 1.25 inch hail and gusts of wind to around 50 miles per hour. So tornado watch continues till 11. Tornado warning, southern and central parts of Sioux County. Selfridge, you're right in the middle of that. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Please visit hutchesweather.com to stay up to date with the very latest. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening. The storm chances do not increase in the James or the Devil's Lake basins or James River valleys until we get a little later into the nighttime hours after 9, and it looks like closer to 10 to midnight for the Red River Valley. I'll keep you posted right here, but for now, remember hutchesweather.com, my brand new website to upload your content. If you have hail to report, if you have any kind of content at all, you can load that up right there. And we're going to end with a look at the South Dakota DOT cameras. Once again, we did have a view from that South Dakota area just south of, let's say this is the McLaughlin area. So let's see if we can take a peek at that camera one more time here. So we zoom in. There it is. This is looking... let's see. Okay, looking west of McLaughlin. That's not going to help us with looking north. We want to look north. There's that. We're just not seeing it from that particular perspective. So that's not helping me. We did have a little bit of a view from the Harriet area, but those storms are a long ways away from Harriet, South Dakota. It's just dark skies is all I'm seeing on those particular storm cells right now. And then looking over at the neighboring cameras in North Dakota, I do believe we did have a little bit of a view from one of them, but some of them are all roads south of Bismarck. Let's see what we can see from this cell here. This is going to be the flasher area, and we can just start to see in the upper left-hand corner some dark clouds starting to enter the picture there from stage left as we look down the south. Look how dark the sky is here over the harvested grain crop that you see there in the foreground. That's some ominous clouds right there. I'm assuming that's looking south into the meat of those storms. So there's some dark skies out there. Some very ominous clouds heading their way in towards Fort Yates. This camera is just north of Fort Yates. I do believe we couldn't see any sky from this particular camera here. These storms are heading in the direction of Fort Yates right now. The rotating storm is a little farther to the south, and that's moving into the Selfridge area. So if you're in those areas, particularly near Selfridge and Point South, seek shelter, interior room. That's a look at the latest conditions. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back with updates through the evening. Tornado watch until 11 o'clock for the central part of the Dakotas. That does not include Jamestown. It does include Bismarck. It does include Strasburg. It does include Wishick and Ashley, as well as you folks in Steele, as well as you folks in Wells County in the Harvey area. I'll be back tonight with updates right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Until next time, stay tuned.